A Karen demanded that I apologize for traumatizing her child by being deaf and unable to fulfill her entitled child's request, causing a scene in the restaurant. Here's what happened when I refused to give in to her unreasonable demands. So some quick backstory. I work at a fairly upscale steakhouse restaurant. I'm deaf and work in the kitchen, but sometimes when we're short-staffed and I'm not backed up in the middle of something, I'll help carry stuff out to a table real quick. Alright, so yesterday we had 3 waiters call in sick, and no one was available to cover for them. Mondays are usually slow anyway, so nobody was too worried about it, until a huge party came in without reservations. It was 6 adults and 7 kids for one of the kids' birthday. Again, this is a nice steakhouse. Usually we get a lot of business types or date night couples, not children's birthday parties. The order comes in and everyone at the table gets steak, even the kids, and every kid got it well done. Whatever, we throw it all together, and I help the waitress carry it out since no one else is free to help her. I put the last plate I have on the table in front of who happens to be the birthday girl. I see her asking me for something, so I do the universal gesture for being deaf, and hurry off to let the waitress know they needed something at the table before going back to the kitchen. I do read lips and speak, but I don't go there with customers at work. Way easier if I just go find someone else to help them out instead. Usually it isn't a problem. Not 10 minutes later, my coworker is tapping on my shoulder trying to warn me ahead of time that the Karen had asked for the manager to complain that I had refused to get her daughter something when the entitled kid asked me for it. I later found out he had tried to explain to them I was deaf in an attempt to save me from their wrath, but apparently the kid didn't know what that meant and got upset when it was explained to her. So, they went from being pissed I ignored them to traumatized that I exist, I guess. The manager comes barreling into the kitchen talking faster than I can keep track of and drags me back out to this table. The entitled kid is crying with patting her back and kissing all over her as if her dog died while they were at the restaurant. Karen starts talking angrily to the manager. I still have no idea what exactly they were saying, but there was a lot of angry gesturing, nasty faces, and the kid was crying so hard. If the coworker hadn't warned me what this about, I would have thought the kid was dying or something. The manager finally turns to face me and ask me to apologize. I assume I've read her lips wrong and ask her to repeat. No, she really does want me to apologize to these people. At this point, I'm really pissed off. You want me to apologize for being deaf? It was upsetting to them. Say you're sorry. No way. Other tables are staring at us at this point, and I'm just not willing to go down this road. Karen is talking again, but I still have no idea what she was saying at this point. She kept gesturing to her crying kid and jabbing a finger in my direction with an expression that would make Satan cringe on her face. Apologize now. No, that's not going to happen. The manager is red-faced and looks like she might blow her top at any second. But there was no way I was apologizing to these people. If they had asked me to apologize for ignoring them or whatever, sure, who cares? But I'm not sorry I can't hear. Actually, I'm pretty thankful at this point. Karen was getting a lot of dirty and annoyed looks, so I guess she wasn't sounding pleasant. I'm fed up with it, so I just head back to the kitchen before they can try to say anything else to me. I guess there was some heated conversation going on behind me. I looked back there before ducking into the kitchen, and Karen was standing up, possibly screaming in the manager's face. The manager ended up comping their meal and actually threatened to write me up for not apologizing to this crazy lady and her precious 8-year-old sheltered snowflake. I've had some interesting reactions from people when I have to let them know I can't hear, but this was on a whole other level. OP left an update. The manager was fired for this, and the family has not come back. If they do, and anyone recognizes them, they will be asked to leave. Also to add, some people have criticized me for not verbally telling the Karen and the kid I was deaf. When I say that I can read lips and speak, I don't mean I can magically understand what people say just by looking at their mouths. If I'm talking with someone I don't normally speak to, I can need things repeated an ungodly amount of times before I get what they are trying to say to me. Think 10 plus times repeating a single sentence. I didn't include this in the story, but when the manager was speaking to me, I was needing things repeated during this ordeal. I just didn't want to clutter the story with, and then I needed the manager to repeat herself 15 times before I got what she was trying to say over and over. Similarly, people who aren't used to my voice and how I speak almost always need me to repeat things or write it down. I do not sound like a hearing person. If I had verbally told these people I was deaf, there is no guarantee they would have understood me, and it is much faster for me to go get an actual server to help them than for me to stand there repeating myself. I'm not really sure how hard it is to figure out what it means when I point at my ear and shake my head. This is the first time in my life that someone didn't understand that gesture. Also, final point, to those saying my grammar is too good for him to be deaf. That's like saying I'm too smart to be deaf. Being deaf does not affect my intelligence, thank you very much. This Karen was seriously next level crazy. I mean, first of all, who takes a group of kids to an upscale steakhouse for a birthday party? And then to make matters worse, they all ordered well-done steak? That's just a sin in the eyes of any steak connoisseur. Jokes aside, the real kicker was when the entitled kid asked for something, and OP, who is deaf, did the universal gesture for being deaf, and went to find another server to help them. And instead of being understanding, this Karen has the audacity to complain, and when the manager asked OP to apologize, they refused, and rightfully so. It's not something they should be apologizing for. And then to comp their meal and threaten to write up OP? That's just insane. And I can't even imagine what it must have been like for OP to be in the middle of all of that, with the entitled kid crying and Karen making angry gestures and nasty faces. Honestly, I think the manager getting fired was probably for the best. They clearly didn't handle the situation well, and it's not fair to put the blame on OP. And the fact that the family won't be allowed back in the restaurant is totally justified. I mean, who wants to deal with that kind of craziness again? So what do you all think? A Karen mom thinks our fresh milk at our farm is too expensive, freaks out, and then wants to buy our cow instead. Little does she know our little calf is actually male. Here's what happened. So, for a little bit of background, my grandma works on a medium-sized dairy farm as kind of a manager, and I'm an 18-year-old who helps her out from time to time. We have a thing called milk filling station. It's basically a vending machine where you can buy fresh milk from us, and it's 1 on UR per liter. We're located on a hill a little outside a small village and surrounded by meadows and forests, so we do get some hikers or families on a nice walk from time to time, especially on the weekends, and they usually look at the calves and buy some milk. One shift here usually includes 4 people. Everyone has different jobs to fulfill, so most of the time you're alone just doing your tasks, and my job is essential for the milking process, as it includes bringing the cows to the milking station and back to their herds. And now on to the actual story. As I've mentioned, I'm alone most of the time, just doing my thing, running around inside the farm. It's a restricted area. We have signs up since it can be quite dangerous, but the gates are open to make work easier, and for ventilation, so theoretically everyone could walk in. Still, I was kinda surprised when I, in the midst of literally shoveling cow shit, were met with a rather annoyed ahem behind me. I turned around, shovel still in hand, and saw a woman maybe in her mid-30s standing before me, way too overdressed to be seen anywhere near a farm. She also didn't look like she was on a casual walk with her family. At least I wouldn't do one in the high heels she was wearing. She was looking at me rather angrily, and I immediately knew that this probably was the day I'd been waiting for, although I never expected it to be here of all places. Before I could even so much as open my mouth, she already started speaking in a very condescending tone to me. Finally! I've been looking for someone to help me for ages. Why are none of you doing your job and being there when you're needed? I was instantly annoyed with this woman because how dare she come in here and talk to me like that? And also, what job was she referring to? Because I, for one, was doing mine right at this moment, and it was strictly timed. I had to get stuff done with zero time to listen to this lady. Still, I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt and be nice. Sorry, if you are referring to the office in the front, there usually is no one since we're all in here doing our job. What's the problem? Maybe I can help? I thought that maybe she's had a flat tire or something around here and needed help, because I legitimately had no idea what someone dressed like her could want on a dairy farm. She just scoffed at me. Huh, unbelievable. You should be over there in case someone needs your help like I do. Anyways, your milk is too expensive. I'm sorry, what? I said your milk is too expensive. I want a better price. She was saying every word slowly and loudly as if she thought I was disabled. Oh, are you talking about the vending machine? I'm sorry, but that's a fixed price. I can't change that. And in my opinion, she cut me off. I didn't ask for your opinion. It's way cheaper at the supermarket, but my daughter wanted to try fresh milk, so we drove here. You should match the price at the supermarkets or you won't sell much. Ma'am, we're not a supermarket. We're selling the leftover fresh milk so it doesn't go to waste. She cut me off again. What? That's leftover milk? Ew. And to imagine my daughter could have drank that. Now, for clarification, when I said leftover milk, I meant that it was fresh milk, as in barely out of the cow fresh, that we weren't able to sell to the company which collects our milk because they have fixed numbers, and if we produce more milk than those numbers, we would have to throw it away. But with the vending machine, at least some of it still gets sold. If you want fresher milk than that, you would have to milk the cow yourself right into the bottle. I started to try and explain this to the Karen, but she immediately cut me off. Again! No, this is unacceptable. Neither me nor my child will drink old milk. And then, the dreaded sentence came, I want to speak to your manager. I already had enough of this bullshit. pun intended, and as I've already said, a strictly timed job that I had to get back to, because we were in the middle of milking our cows, and this lady was literally holding up the whole process by holding up me. So I was more than happy to agree and get her to my manager, my grandma, and have her out of my hair. I just motioned for her to follow me, and speed walked in the direction of the front office, while the lady was trying to keep up in her high heels without breaking her ankles. Now our office is in kind of another building, and the door closest to us was locked, so we had to walk around the building, across the parking lot for the workers, and through another entrance, that happened to be right besides the boxes we kept the newborn calves in. This also was the place where I met the before-mentioned daughter of the Karen. The girl was maybe 10 years old and happily watching the calves and petting them when we came into view. As soon as she saw her mom, she ran to her and started excitedly jumping up and down. "Mom, Mom, look at the cute calves!" She dragged her mom over to the boxes. "Look, it's so cute! I named her Emma. Can we keep her? Please, see?" I expected the Karen mom to maybe say something along the lines of, "A cow is not a pet," or "We don't have the space," or maybe, "I don't know how to take care of a cow," but boy, was I wrong. Instead, the mom turns to me and asks completely serious, "How much are these?" Now, although we do sell our male calves, since they are of no use to us, I for one wasn't sure how much exactly this calf was worth, pretty sure that there was a registration process involved in owning a cow, and in no way, shape, or form authorized to just sell a calf like that. And on top of that, cows aren't exactly animals you can just put in your yard and be done with. "I'm sorry, but..." I was cut off again. "No, I asked how much it is. Tell me." "Ma'am, that's a cow, not a pet." "I know, but your milk is way too expensive anyways. Just sell me one of those if my daughter wants it, and we will have our own really fresh milk." At this point, I strongly considered just walking away because there was no way this woman could be serious. She deadass wanted to buy an animal that would grow up to be around 140 mm high and 700 kg heavy, strong enough to kill you if you handled them wrong. Not only that, but also a cow of a breed that needs to be milked twice a day because it produces as much milk as possible, which is around 30-50 liters at our farm. All that because 1 euro per liter for fresh milk apparently was too much, and her daughter thought our calves were cute. They are, but that's not the point. Plus, you need to properly take care of them, feed them right, and just getting a calf won't give you instant milk. She has to grow up, get pregnant, give birth, etc. All around this, Karen would have to wait for another 24 to 28 months until her calf starts giving milk, and then repeat the process every year, so she would have new calves to take care of every year just to keep her one cow running, so to speak. Instead of telling her directly how stupid time and money consuming this idea is, I decided to try and take the diplomatic way. "Ma'am, I understand, but it's not that easy. I'm afraid I'm not able." "Then get me something who's able. I wanted to speak to your manager anyways. Why do you have to be such an incompetent worker? How old are you? 15. Children shouldn't talk back to adults." That's where I've had it, and so I just blurted out the best thing I could think of at the time. "Me, I am an adult, and you should stop talking to me like that. I am not obligated to help you, and in fact we could sue you for trespassing on private property." "How dare you threaten me?" "Young lady, that is no way to talk to a person older than you. Learn some respect. I demand to speak to your manager. I will get you fired for this." As if she was called, my grandma stepped out of the building right at that moment, probably because she heard the commotion. "What's going on here?" "Oh good. Are you the manager of this place?" "GM. At the moment, yes. How can I help you?" "This worker of yours was incredibly rude. She threatened me and my daughter and refused to help us. She even tried to assault me right before you came outside. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been on time." Karen was trying to squeeze some fake tears out at this point, quickly swiping them away with her finger before they could ruin her very thick layer of makeup. "All we wanted was to ask if we could get the milk you are selling a little cheaper, and my daughter here really likes this calf over there, so we thought about buying it." My grandma was just silently listening to this woman's story, arms crossed and eyebrow raised because she could smell the bullshit from 3 miles away. "Ma'am, this is my granddaughter you're talking about, and I know for a fact that she wouldn't do any of that." Karen went awfully quiet at that. "So, about the milk, I maybe would have helped you out if you hadn't just lied to my face, but now I kindly ask you to just pay the full price as everyone else does, and the calf, I'm afraid I won't be able to sell it to you." "This is outrageous. I'm a paying customer. I would pay for this calf. Why are you refusing? My daughter wants a cow and she likes this one there." "Ma'am, that won't give you a cow. It will give you a bull. It's a male calf." "You're lying. You just don't want to sell it because it's pretty." My grandma just silently pointed to the big male symbol on the side of the box, clearly labeling it as a boy. At this point, the Karen just huffed and mumbled something about stupid, uneducated people from the countryside, and how she would never come back here ever again. which I would also really appreciate. The little girl was whining loudly about her cow while her mom was dragging her back to their expensive-looking car, and my grandma and I watched them drive away before having a good laugh about the whole story. Yo, so I totally stand with the OP on this one. I mean, who the hell does this lady think she is, coming into someone's farm and talking down to them like that? And seriously, complaining about the price of the milk? Like, come on. It's not like they're charging an arm and a leg for it, it's just a fair price for fresh milk. Plus, it's not like the OP was trying to rip her off or anything, they were just trying to sell the leftover milk so it didn't go to waste. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather pay a little extra for fresh milk from a farm, rather than getting it from a supermarket where, who knows how long it's been sitting there. Overall, I just think this lady was being super entitled and rude, and the OP handled the situation perfectly. But you know what's crazier? The video on screen where a Karen demands Op's seat on a bus because he's too young to be disabled. Yeah, that don't make any sense.